What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here in the Odd Shepherd channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks in the NBA streets. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. And it was really great content on Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday ended up being a complete smash. Hit every single bet, every single pick'em card thrown into the premium Discord for the people. That felt good, but there were a number of people who wanted to point out when I, tweeted out, hey, you didn't hit everything. You missed OKC minus 8.5. Did you listen to the analysis? I hope you guys are listening to it and not just skipping through to the plays. And I get it. Sometimes I talk a lot. I get it. Maybe here at least the tail end, because I always try to either give you updated odds or give you an idea of why something's a lean like. If you see something that isn't just a concrete like, and, you can just tail it blindly, probably to some extent there. If you see something as a lock, yeah, you probably want to jump in on that right away before the line moves, like the over on Wednesday. We ended up having that go from 219.5 on that Phoenix game up to 224.5. I'm seeing at some spots, some shops, 223.5 here at the moment. So nice CLV that we'll get there. But my whole point is that it was really disappointing because, I get it. I can be long-winded. I can be goofy. I can do other things, but I'm trying to give you the best updated information I possibly can. I'm recording the night before for a reason. I'm trying to get you that CLV, trying to get you those good plays. But if you don't listen to the analysis, you missed out on the fact that it was a lean like for a very specific reason. It was at 8.5, minus 115. I said it had to drop to 8, minus 110 or better, and it never got to 8. It went the opposite direction, closed at 9.5 there with no Victor Wembanyama, and, well, I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm trying to do the best I can for every single person. I understand there are time constraints in life. I understand that, hey, sometimes you don't want to listen to me get to the picks, Mr. Math Guy. But overall, I just hope you know how much time and effort I put into this. And I just want you to get all of the goods because there's a lot that goes into it. Even on a 4-game slate here on the NBA side, an extra hour and a half of work here trying to update things because I found something in my rebounds and assists where it was a little bit off, not exactly where it needed to be in the early going with some of these NBA Cup games, trying to get some adjustments for star players, trying to get some adjustments for some of those minutes going up and making sure I have good baseline rates in for you. So I know I'm long-winded here in general, but also on the front end of this video, please listen to the analysis, especially if you see lean like down in the corner. Now, if it's your first time joining, sorry for all of that. That was a lot to throw on you, but leans are things I'm thinking about betting. They generally need to have line movement in some direction, or I'm just not interested in the game at all because it's a very difficult read with injury news, and that'll happen from time to time in the NBA. That's usually around a half unit, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but always kind of in that ballpark. And a lock, that's a unit, sometimes more. We've had some smashes here of late. I want to keep that momentum going. And hey, we did cash Brook Lopez basically in the first half for Milwaukee, over 16.5 PRA. If you tail that one, good times, points plus rebounds also just hit. I mean, everything across the board for Brook Lopez was a smash. So we're off to a good start here on Wednesday. I'm going to try to keep the momentum going. We'll talk about tails a little bit later. You can sign up for that down below. Love having some new faces in there here before the holidays. We're going to get some deals going, hopefully. Hopefully we have some Black Friday goodness, some Cyber Monday goodness for you. But without further ado, I'm done talking. Well, I'm going to start talking a lot. I'm done talking now. Producer Jacob, let's get to the picks. So today's card is interesting. We have 4 games. I have 3 of them that have plays from it. This is the only one I currently do not. Detroit, Charlotte. I'm extremely interested, though, in one thing and one thing in particular. What happened with that benching of LaMelo Ball? LaMelo Ball, in a NBA Cup game, competitive NBA Cup game, gets benched for Trey Mann to close that one out because Trey Mann was, quote, playing better on both sides of the floor and giving us what we needed. LaMelo Ball is your franchise. I don't understand some coaches when they just decide, oh, well, I'm going to ride the hot hand against my star player who a year, 2 years down the line, it's not like he's going to forget this. It's not like this is going to be a very good situation when it comes to contract disputes or negotiations. And that's a good way for an NBA coach to get really sent out on a rail. It's hard in the NBA, no doubt about it, to deal with star players, but it sounds like LaMelo's a pretty chill dude. I mean, he drives some really crazy cars. He's got some eccentric clothing from time to time, but for the most part, here's some of the comments about Dennis Smith Jr. explaining playing with him. The guy's a dog. He's out there working. Most guys in the NBA are hard to make it there unless you're a hard worker. Joel Embiid, hi, what's going on? Helps to be 7 feet tall and good touch. But either way, LaMelo Ball is kind of an interesting back here. Now, before we get into that one, I should at least discuss why this one's super, super hyper efficient and why it's tough to bet. No injury news on either side of this. You heard me. Asar Thompson, we know, is doubtful. It sounds like he's getting close, reconditioning, getting close to his return, but there's absolutely no injury news on either side of this one. So it's hard for the books to, well, it's easy for the books to set lines. It's hard for me to find you edges. And as such, there's a part of me that thinks, oh, you know what? I'm gonna salvage this here with LaMelo Ball. It's a terrible defense on the other side in Cade Cunningham. Jaden Ivey's all right there on that side of it, but I think this could be a LaMelo just goes out and chucks it and has zero regard for humanity spot. Wouldn't shock me to see 30. I almost said 40, 35 plus here in this spot against Detroit. You got Cade Cunningham on the other side, number one pick himself. Just phenomenal stuff in the early going of this season. But again, no injury news, hyper efficient lines. Now I get done saying that and we go to two major Q tags, Mike Conley, Scotty Barnes, respectively on both their teams. Minnesota, I'm not going to touch 7 here on the road with Minnesota in its current iteration. One, Mike Conley, I never know what those minutes are going to land at here for the time being. And Dante DiVincenzo, he's questionable as well. He could step into a ton of minutes. He could also just continue struggling like he has in the early going of 2024. Looking at some of his efficiency ratings, not super impressed from the early going. I thought that throw in with Julius Randle almost made the Cat trade worth it. Still wasn't a fan of it. Still thought we could have done something better and held on to him at least till the deadline. And if we really felt like hitting eject on this team, do it then. But obviously GM's ownership felt differently about that situation. And here we are. Now, defensively, we need to start figuring out some of what got us to where we were last season. We're 6th in adjusted defensive rating, 110.9 points per allowed 100 possessions. So why is it that I'm saying, oh, that's bad, that's bad? We were number 1 last season in the entire NBA, sub 109 in that mark. Doesn't sound like a huge difference, but yeah, we still don't have Karl Anthony Towns out there shooting for us. Naz Reid's fun from time to time. Completely love him. Everybody in Minnesota loves him. Naz Reid 2028, that is for sure. But I think going up against Scotty Barnes with a Q tag, if this thing breaks one way or another, again, I don't have a lean on either one of those specific plays. But I know Jakob Poeltl has been playing unbelievable basketball. And we're still sitting around waiting, wishing for Kelly Olynyk, the great Northern Kelly Olynyk here, Canadian. Hey, oh, it's so nice to see you there. He's still not back in uniform. Still going to be another 2+ weeks for him till we see him on a game. And Jakob Poeltl's locked into these minutes until then, where, again, they can go, quote-unquote, small. Kelly Olynyk, just a different skill set than what you're getting from Jakob Poeltl. Obviously, Kelly Olynyk can step out and knock down the tray. Jakob Poeltl, you know how many threes he's taken this season? 0 is the answer, because he doesn't do that. He does everything else, though, in the paint, and it's going to be a lot of him and Rudy Gobert banging elbows down there, and I think that creates some value at the opening number here for Rudy Gobert rebounds. I'm a little bit surprised to see it as low as what it is. And I know 11.5 seems like a big number. Oh, Eric, they could easily go to Naz Reid and try to go small, but you could say that every single time out. And yet Rudy Gobert averages 32.5 minutes per game, has played 37 and 41 the last two. Seems as though, just going to throw it out there. Against a true center on the other side playing big minutes, they're going to match up a lot. You have a team, again, 225.5 total, not crazy up and down here, but I think this is a great opportunity. Rudy Gobert, 10.5 rebounds per game. It's up to 11.5. However, once again, the minutes have been trending up in more competitive spots, which if Barnes is in, probably helps this one out. Let me help you guys out by jumping into Tails, where you can get all of my plays day in, day out in the NBA and NFL streets, and of course, the MLB streets when those show back up in March. But it's a long time till then. Why don't you just try out all the goodies for free here? See if I can't make you some money at Pick'em, at all of the sports books, at everything on your screen. There's 11 sites you could sign up for now. If you haven't signed up for one of them, go to the link provided down in the chat. You got to use that link down below. And you sign up. You let them know in that email, hey, I want to get Lindy's Tails package for 1 month for free. You send then, with these 4 easy steps down below, screenshots of your welcome email and first settled bet to support@oddshopper.com, and I will see you in that premium Discord. It's only if you're 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And we head to the lock portion of the program. That's kind of like the new way of me introing this. Utah, 2.5-point dogs going into San Antonio. This opened closer to 5.5. It has come crashing down to earth because Victor Wembanyama already released from his duties for this one. He will be out with that left knee contusion. And as such, well, San Antonio should struggle, right? I don't know. Zach Collins was knocking down shots against OKC and looked pretty darn good out there, if you ask me. 26 minutes, 5 for 7 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, 12, 7, and 3. Nice to get some decent stuff out of Zach Collins, but he is questionable here with left knee tendonitis. That gets me a little bit nervous. Charles Bassey sitting there. He's played pretty serviceable there, 22 and 21 minutes, but the point guard out there, Chris Paul himself, is questionable for Thursday's game. This is very risky. I got to tell you, it's very risky, but this is a Utah team that is already gettable under any circumstances. This is the worst defense in all of basketball. Now, technically, they're 0.2 points per game away in raw defensive rating, but I have them 117.8 adjusted defensive rating, and that is on a per 100 possession basis. Looking over at Dunks and Threes, updating stuff from there, combining it with my data, I really like the way that this process has worked out on the totals here in the early going, back testing some stuff. We'll see as we start rolling out some more of those plays, but I think there are a lot of ways that this game still looks really good to be backing the San Antonio side. One, Devin Vassell already out. We know that. It's baked into this line. Two, Chris Paul ends up getting ruled in where, I mean, it sounded though he was fine. He got interviewed after that game and was just basically saying, yeah, I'm fine. Everything's going to be all right. Got dinged up and found his way to continue beating up on his former Oklahoma City team. It kind of helps to be the old guy at the YMCA, knowing exactly how SGA is going to move to some extent, although SGA is basically matchup proof at this point in time, and Chris Paul is 100. But what I'm getting at here is Stephon Castle. More minutes for him. He is a winning basketball player whose terms of plus minus adjusted numbers, it's up and trending up on the graph here on Dunks and Threes, where he's going to get more time and look better because he's a winning basketball player at UConn. I mean, we have these guys that are kind of scattered amongst the league now who, whether it's Klingon or him, like there's a lot of these impressive rookies that do different things on the defensive end to really bolster winning basketball. You know what Utah has? None of those guys. They have only offensively forward guys. They need guys to basically outperform on the offensive end every single night in order to make up for their defensive liabilities. Let me count the ways. John Collins, Lauri Markkanen. You've got Keontae George, who's really struggled this season. Colin Sexton. It has gotten really, really brutal for them here. They've gone to Isaiah Collier at times to try to get some more defense out on the floor, but with no Walker Kessler underneath, and you're getting more minutes for Filipowski, only offense. You're getting John Collins, basically only offense. A little bit of rebounding at time to time. I love backing San Antonio and hoping that the chips fall in your direction with that Chris Paul news, with that Zach Collins news. It is a little bit riskier than a general lock that I'd be looking at. It's only a 4-game slate. This is right around that unit for me, but at minus 145, we have over at BetMGM. I had to lock this number. I think you could attach it to any of these other plays that I talked about as a nice parlay piece. Not always my go-to here, but minus 145. I know a lot of people don't want to lay the 145 to win 100, and that is just fine, but I would do it. I mean, after all, I did do it. But Orlando, 4.5-point dogs, taking on the Lakers. Dalton Connect 4. He connected on a lot more than 4 threes that last time out. And Dalton Connect, LeBron James out there already victory lapping, talking everybody down. 52.3% from the field, 46.4% from 3 on the season for Dalton Connect. True shooting out the wazoo. And then, that last time out was just ridiculous. Again, against that Jazz defense that, they found ways to stay in that one offensively. It only ended up, 124, 118, but 37 ball from Dalton Connect in just his 1-2-3 carry the one. 14th NBA game. Incredible stuff from him. I'm not sure that he's just the locked-in genius that, he's 24. He's on the older end of the rookie spectrum for sure, but Dalton Connect, no doubt, a nice piece early on in this NBA season, and the Lakers have been starving for shooting for years. Maybe they finally got it. This more has to do with what they are getting, and that is an Orlando team on a back-to-back. They are just about to tip off here in all of 10 minutes as of recording this right now. I think that is a huge injustice to them. They have Wendell Carter, who ended up sitting out this one. I kind of expect him to be in uniform for tomorrow's game. It's that foot injury, 9 straight that he's now missed. I think he comes back against Anthony Davis. They basically had to pick, do we want to utilize him on the front end or the back end of this back-to-back? And I think Wendell Carter being rolled out here on Thursday makes a lot of sense. However, the more that I rerun rates for Anthony Davis, LeBron James, alongside Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, and hey, D'Angelo Russell closing last game, doing decent enough stuff on the defensive end, trying a little bit harder off the bench. limited minutes for him maybe isn't a bad thing. It's like the Russell Westbrook deal that they tried to make work, but D'Angelo Russell can actually do what they need, and that is shoot the basketball when called upon. And also, when he doesn't have to handle the ball. I like him so much more as a 2, and I wish more teams had utilized him as such, because Brooklyn did it back in the day, and you saw him put up an all-star season. Let's just do this. Lakers, -4.5. It's straightforward as can be. There are ways that they rest a Jalen Suggs or a Franz Wagner. They can't really afford to and be competitive in this game, but we'll see how this back-to-back pans out. I only see this closing higher than 4.5. See it going more towards the 5.5, 6 realm. As such, let's jump in now. Let's get some early value on this ticket. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks in the NBA streets. Go to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for this lovely slate that we have before us. Only 4 games here on Thursday. Friday, we're coming back with vengeance. A lot more that will be on the card there. But anything that I have will be in tails. You guys want to come kick it with me? Talk through the process. I love when people are DMing me, asking me about how I go about my bets, how I track stuff, where I track it, where I get my news, how I'm tracking news. All of that is very, very important in the NBA streets. You can follow me at Eric Lindquist over on X. Would also love to see you guys there. Thank you, producer Jacob. Until next time, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Thursday.